Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Happy new week guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time that you listen to this. I really do hope that you are doing well. We are well in the third week of studying the book of Psalms, and it's just been a great book. Today we are looking at Psalm chapter 10. And as it is my custom or routine, I'm going to be reading this chapter word for word, and then I'm going to share what lessons it is that I have picked up from the book, and I know that the Lord is going to speak to you. I know that the Lord is in His word and that He's going to speak to you. So today I'm reading from the English Standard Version. So I hope that you guys have already read this chapter, but just in case you haven't read, please follow through. Open the Bible yourself. Open the version that I'm reading, which is the English Standard Version, so then you can follow through as I read, or pause so then you can read, and then you can listen to the summary and listen to the lessons that I have picked. Right, let's do this. Chapter 10. It says, the title says, "Why do you hide yourself?" And then it says, "Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? In arrogance, the wicked hotly pursues the poor. Let them be caught in the schemes that they have devised. For the wicked boasts of the desires of his soul. And the one greedy for gain curses and renounces, the one who is greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. In the pride of his face, the wicked does not seek him." I like that part. I really like that verse. In the pride of his face, there's a lot to learn there. That it is pride that makes us not seek God. It says, in the pride of his face, the wicked does not seek him. All his thoughts are, there is no God. His ways prosper all the time. Your judgment are on high and out of sight. For all his foes, he puffs at them. He says in his heart, "I shall not be moved. Throughout all generations, I shall not meet adversity." His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue are mischief and iniquity. He sits in ambush in the villages. In hiding places, he murders the innocent. His eyes steadily watch for the helpless. He lurks in a bush like a lion in the thicket. He lurks that he may seize the poor. He seizes the poor when he draws him into his nest. Well, this guy is bad. The helpless are crushed and they sink down. They fall by his might. He says in his heart, "God has forgotten. He has hidden his face and he will never see it." Arise, O Lord. O God, lift up your hand. Forget not the afflicted. Why does the wicked renounce God and say in his heart, you will not call him to action? You will not call to account, But you do see him, for you note mischief and vexation, that you may take it into your hands. To you the helpless commits himself, and you have been the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and the evildoer. Call his wickedness into account till you find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations perish from his land. O Lord, you hear the desire of the afflicted. You will strengthen their hearts. You will incline your ear to do justice to the fatherless and to the oppressed, so that the man who is of the earth may strike terror no more. Well, this is it's almost like a very sad psalm where David is feeling like, the wicked always wins. You see, David was a man of great faith. And he, like all of us, have struggled when we observe evil people succeed without consequences. I'm sure many of us can relate. What made David a great hero of faith was not his ability to simply accept evil without emotion. It was just the fact that instead, he had the ability to pour out his feelings to God, and he could just go and express his frustration. From David's example in this psalm and in the psalms before, because we've seen this kind of psalms before, we have learned that when it appears that the evil around us is winning and prevailing, when evil is rampant, we can respond by seeking God, pouring our frustrations to Him, and trusting that God will give us victory over evil, even praising Him for future victories. Like what we see at the end there, where David is praising God for future victories. But today, let's look at this scripture, not from the perspective of David, but as the one who's being oppressed by evildoers, but as the evildoer. So this is what I want us to do. We will not look at this chapter or this psalm from the perspective of David, from the perspective of a victim, but we will look at it from the perspective of we are the oppressors. So in verse 4, we see that the wicked man is filled with pride, that he no longer seeks God. He has gotten used to his ways of prospering all the time, that he thinks he doesn't need God. It has been long since he faced God's judgment, now he thinks that there is no God and that he cannot be moved. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever gotten to this place where everything in your life seems to be going great and you have no time or need to seek God? Where you have been getting away with doing something wrong for so long without any consequences that you think that God doesn't see it. You think that God does not see it. How I see it is that it all starts with pride. Pride prevents us from seeking God and seeking His will for our lives and seeking His counsel. Pride blinds us. Pride blinds us to the need that we have for God, making us think that we can do everything by ourselves. And so, how does pride come? Pride inatoka wapi? It comes when we slowly start taking glory for things that the Lord has done in our lives. So the Lord favors you to get a job in this international company and you think that it was your papers that did it. The Lord heals you or your mom of cancer, God forbid that even you have cancer or your mom gets cancer. But you think that it was because you had all the money to take her to India. The Lord blesses you with a great marriage. And instead, you think it's because you are a submissive woman and the rest of us are not. So the first bus stop to being a wicked person is pride. So today, let us all check ourselves. Let's be intentional to listening to our talks. Listen to how you speak. Let's be keen when we're hanging out with friends, when we are speaking out with our family members or colleagues at work, and most importantly, when we are thinking of our achievements, our progress in life. Who are we directing the glory to? To ourselves or to God? So that's the challenge today. Be keen. Check yourself. Be intentional to listen to how you talk. Be intentional to listen to how you talk to your family members, how you talk at work to your colleagues, how you talk about your achievements, about your progress in life, and be intentional to ask yourself, who am I directing this glory to? Because remember that the first bus stop to wickedness is pride. And pride begins when you start to take glory for things that God has done. So it is my prayer that we would be able to arrest all those thoughts before they become pride. All those thoughts that may be in our minds that, you can be, this is a thought of me giving myself glory rather than giving it to God. May we be able to arrest all those thoughts before they become real pride. And before pride blinds us to the need that we have of God and stops us from seeking God. And then we end up being wicked people. Thank you so much for listening and see you tomorrow.